go.
Hi everybody, how you doing? Happy Tuesday. I'm very excited today. My grandchild's being born today. I'm very excited. So I'm like a little bottle of pop. I don't know whether I want to cry or throw up or laugh hysterically because I'm so nervous and excited for them. So this is going to be a real quickie, because I'm not sure I can focus that long, to be honest. So how are you all? Is everybody okay? How you doing? Who's coming online? Anybody there, Joey?
I haven't got names yet. We've got people coming in right
Hi
now.
everyone. Do say hello if you're there. I've got a couple of daily deals for you, so I'm just going to grab these out of the bag. So they are hopefully on the website. I'm sure I put them on a minute ago, so hopefully they're there. We've got 2 daily deals for you today. So the first one is we're going to do a woolly one for you woolly people out there, you crocheters and knitters. We're going to do 5 balls of Starcraft DK, which is beautiful. It's fab for baby knitting and crochet, knitting, everything, all sorts. We're going to do 5 balls for £8, okay? So you're saving, what would it be? So if I wouldn't, it's normally £2.25 a ball, so what's that, 10, 11.25, so you're saving £3.25. So you're going to get, it will be a random colour selection. It won't be these, okay? It might be this one, but it will be a random 5 balls, okay, for £8. So that's the woolly daily deal. And then we've got a fabric daily deal, and we're going to do 10 fat 8s. So fat 8s are half a fat quarter. So 10 fat 8s would be 1.25 meters. So you're getting 1.25 meters. I'm going to do 10 fat 8s. Again, a random selection. It won't be this exact selection. It'll be a random lot, and they will also be £8. Okay, so you've got 2 £8 deals. They are on the website, and you can go for it. Just go and find them on the daily deal section. So who's there? Who's saying hello?
Marian's here. Nikki's here.
Hi everyone. Hi Marion. Hi Nikki.
Kate was here. She said she was right there with you.
Oh.
Go, Kate.
Oh, hi Kate.
Grace is here.
Kate, who's my daughter-in-law's mum, is online as well, watching today, and yeah, we're both very excited and both very nervous. But yeah, I'm not sure I'm going to get through this, but it'll be fine. It'll be fine. You'll put up with me today, won't you? Anybody else there?
Wendy's here as well.
Hi
Marion.
Wendy. Hi Marion.
Nikki's here. Grace is here.
Lovely. Hi Grace.
And
Perfect.
Jackie as well.
So what we're going to do today is we're going to touch again on some free motion embroidery. I know we did some 6, 7, 8 months ago, right back towards the beginning, and we made some little free motion embroidery cards. But I know we've got lots of new viewers and stuff, so I thought I'd go through this again for you, and we'd have a little go at a project. So this is something we did it as a class actually, just so that you can learn free motion. And I'm calling this Birds on a Wire. And again, it's about using little scraps and using your sewing machine as a sketching tool. So using your sewing machine as a pencil, okay? The joy of free motion embroidery is it can be really loose, okay? You're not getting those, you know, like with free motion quilting when you've got those perfect patterns. The joy of free motion embroidery is that you've got to imagine that you've just sketched this. You are literally sketching with the machine. You know, it should be really loose and free, and actually the slightly more messy it is, the better it looks. If you're too perfect with it, it doesn't actually give that lovely loose sort of sketchy feel, okay? So we're going to have a little go today at these little birds. However, this technique, this design could be turned into anything. You know, these could be, if you turned them the other way, you could turn them into little crabs or fish. Or, you know, put 2 on top of each other and turn them into little dogs and cats. You know, you could do this as anything. And, I mean, you could make these then into a cushion or a bag front. I know Carrie, lovely Carrie, she did this design back when we did it as a class. And she made the most beautiful cushions with it. You could add more smaller birds and stuff, you know, and things on there. So it's entirely up to you. This is more about the technique than the end result, okay? So
before you carry on, somebody asked, is the wool double knitting? It
is a double knit wool. It's the Starcraft Special DK. So it's all double knit. And yeah, it's 5 balls for £8, and it will be a random selection, okay, of colours. Cool. So yeah, should be live. Any other questions or comments?
That was it for now.
Perfect. So when I'm free motion embroidering, I like to use an interfacing on the back of my fabric. It helps stabilise the top fabric. It makes it a weeny bit stiffer for you to be able to get through and, you know, actually be able to control it a bit more. Doesn't have to be this big. I've just cut a 12.5-inch square for this one. You could do smaller blocks, you know, do like 4 or something together. I'm just doing this because it's a nice size for you guys to see. So I've got some iron-on interfacing on the back of my fabric, and we're just going to iron that on to start with. So with interfacing, iron-on interfacing, it's a press and hold, okay? So you've got to give the iron time to activate that glue, all right? So if you just iron, it's not going to stick. You want to, you know, press, hold, sort of count to 2 or 3 each time before you move on, okay? Give that glue chance to do what it needs to do and fuse itself to the back of your fabric, okay? I also find as well this helps the interfacing, not just to stabilise it, but it hides any random little threads as well. Hides anything you know, that you might have left over, you know, particularly if you're using a pale fabric as your background fabric. Okay, so any questions or comments there? Anybody having a chat while I'm just doing this?
Heather says hello.
Hi Heather.
Linda says thanks for my fabric, it came through this morning.
Ah, brilliant, lovely. Lovely. There we go. So just get that all nice and pressed down, okay? So nice and fused together, and that's going to be my background. Now, I've just drawn out, I just drew a little on a scrap piece of paper, a little oval. You know, you just want something to sort of vaguely give you a animal shape. You could be more specific if you wanted to, but actually I quite like this sort of, you know, very sketchy, modern sort of abstracty look. We're going to grab a little bit of Bonder web like this and just trace out that shape, because you just want to fuse your coloured pieces of fabric onto your background fabric before you start. You could fabric glue them, but I do find that they can sometimes lift and catch when you're doing your free motion, so I like to Bonder web them down. I find it works easier. Okay, so I'm just going to draw out 3 of these to add to do a little set of birds. Okay, any questions there while I'm doing this bit of drawing?
Not right now.
No? There we go. And then I want a little round one as well, and I'm just going to freehand that. I'm just going to do, you could draw round something if you wanted to, but I want a little round one to do a little funny hoppy bird as well. Okay, so, oh, where's my scissors gone?
Under here.
There we go. It's all right. Josh was hiding them. Josh was hiding them. So I'm going to cut those out, and I'm going to cut them out just a little bit bigger, like we do with Bonder web, because we want to fuse them onto the fabric and then cut them out exactly. Okay, as I'm sure I've told you guys before, we do that so that by cutting through the fabric and the Bonder web, what you're doing is like pushing the glue into the fabric, which helps stop fraying. That pressure of cutting through kind of pushes the glue in. So we're going to cut out those little ovals, little egg shapes.
Eric asks, what's the weight of your interfacing?
I use a firm interfacing, so I think it's a 250 weight. 250 is the code. You could use a medium. I wouldn't bother with lightweight, not for this. It's not stiff enough, but I like a firm weight interfacing. Okay, so the only kind of little bit of drawing that I do is just decide where on the square that I'm gonna, hang on, let me just push this over so it's flat. Where on the square I'm going to put these. Okay, so I want it about 2/3 of the way down, and I'm just going to give myself a branch shape like that, and then, you know, I might have a bit of a, like that, give myself a branch shape, might have a bit of a twig going off like that, you know, and maybe you could have a bit of a twig with some leaves or something going off like that. Okay, it's very, very loose. You're just giving yourself a vague guideline. Okay, raided my scrap bucket, and I've got all these little scraps left over. Looks from a drunkard's path that I was doing. So I'm going to grab some of these, and I'm going to choose which ones I want my little birds to be out of. So I'm going to have some bright coloured ones. Do you have a pink one, and then maybe a turquoisey one. But again, brilliant for scraps, this type of thing. You know, you could do, you only need that much, little tiny little bit, okay? And on the back of these, we're going to fuse. So the Bond web, the rough side is the glue, shiny side's the paper. So you're going to put it rough side down and just fuse that into place. There we go. And then let's have that one. Let's get that right up in there. You know, you could personalise these. You could do all sorts of little animals. You know, just start with an oval and create your shapes. Yeah. If it was a bunny, if we go back to the bunny, the Easter thing, you know, you could just draw floppy ears on that and some little feet, you know, and a smiley face, bunny nose. We'll do it quite well. Oh, and Bond web's moved off that one. There we go, and just fuse that one in. You could fussy cut bits if you wanted to off your fabric, you know, because it's with the Bond web. If I'd have thought about it, I could have fussy cut that right in the centre if I wanted to. And then we're going to cut these out. So we're going to cut it out on the pencil line, and this is the bit that kind of fuses it all together. Okay. So any other questions or comments there? Who's having a chat?
Junior Candy Crush says, thanks for the scrap bags, arrived this morning. Thanks for the best wishes after a short stay in hospital. All good now.
Oh, good, good. I'm glad you're well. That's I'm going to cut around this one. Anybody else?
That's it right now.
Yeah. There we go. So I'm just cutting around these ones, and then we're going to fuse these to our main piece of fabric, background fabric. Yeah. And then we're going to go through the free motiony bit. So those fat 8th bundles actually would be perfect for this. You could, you know, do these. You could do smaller versions and put them onto cards like we've done before to make greetings cards. You know, make lots of blocks up and do a quilt or something, you know, or just, I think they make really cute little cushions. Really, really cute little cushions. The fat 8th bundles as well, actually, that are in the daily deal will be perfect for the snap game that we did yesterday, the memory game, because you could easily get your pieces out of, you know, your 3.5 inch squares out of that. So I'm going to try and do this towards you. The easiest way to get the backing paper off is just to score it, and I'm sure lots of you have used Bond web before, and peel off that backing paper. Okay, score this one. I just keep thinking my phone's going to go off at any minute while we're filming. Waiting for my son to call and tell me they're out of theatre. There we go, and then I got a little one. Okay, so you can then decide where you want him to put. You might decide that you want a little one down on that bottom branch, or you know, he's having a little, you know, he's jumping up and down. He's a naughty little baby bird. Okay, you know, maybe have these two over here like that. You know, have a play around with the placement. Okay, how you do it is entirely up to you. It's supposed to be a bit of fun. Just realised I drew on that. This is all going to disappear now because I'm going to use the iron, and it was a Frixion pen. So there we go. Let's have these two over here having a little chat. I'll just draw that line back in a minute, and then this one can sit over here telling off the naughty little baby bird who's playing around. Okay, so I fused that in. Okay, right, I'm just going to give it a flap, get the heat out of it, because otherwise I can't draw back into it because it'll still be warm. Okay, so you don't have to do this. You can if you want to, but if you're new to free motion, this can help just give you sort of a little bit of a plan. So I'm going to think about the fact that, you know, I'm going to give them little feathery top knots, okay, like that. Again, just, you know, maybe that one's kind of going backwards, okay, and the little baby bird's he's going to be facing forwards like that. Little baby bird's going to have some wings, so again, just, ooh, it's because I'm doing it upside down. There we go. So I'm going to give him some wings like that. Wait for that to cool down. These two are going to have a chat, so the beaks are going to come out this way and their feet are going to come out this way, like that. Give them some tail feathers maybe, like that. You don't have to do this. You could just go for it if you wanted to, but if you, like I said, if you are a weeny bit new to it, you might find that, you know, and then we're going to give this one's some wings that way, and there's his feet there, and some eyes. Okay, give him some eyes like that. What are you laughing at?
So Jackie says they're not having a boy or girl, they're having a boy.
Yeah.
But Caroline says I'd wing it.
Oh, boom, boom, like it. Absolutely, wing it, hun. Okay, so there we go. I'm just going to put it back in and pop his little feet back in. Okay, so you could absolutely wing it, and I did on the other one. But if you're new to this, having just a vague plan of what you might want to do can help. Okay, so what we're going to do now is we're going to go over to the machine. So any other questions or comments there?
No, that was
No?
just the wing it one.
Right, so I've put my darning foot on. Okay, let me just turn this up.
Do you need to be close to that? Or?
No, we're all right at the moment, actually. You might want to, in a moment, come round the back once I've explained and film over my shoulder. That might help a weeny bit. Okay, let me just get all my bits ready here. So, I've put my feed dogs down. Now, on my machine is a button here. So, Josh, I don't know if you can come up close to this. There's a button here which drops my feed dogs. I'm going to tell you this now because we've had this so often. On a brother machine, when you want to put your feed dogs back up, you don't just turn the switch, the feed dogs won't come up. You have to manually use your wheel and do a full turn for the feed dogs to come back up. Okay? They won't unless you do that manual turn. We've had many people going, I've broken my machine. And it's just because they haven't done that manual turn. It's different on all machines, but on brothers, that's what you do. So I'm going to put my feed dogs back down by pressing that button over there, and that then disengages them. Okay? Because the feed dogs, as we've talked about before, obviously pull the fabric in one direction, and with this, I want to be able to go in all directions and draw. You want those feed dogs down, out of the way. If you can't drop your feed dogs, you should have a little plate that came with the machine that will sit over the top. Okay? So have a look at that. I leave my needle in the dead centre, and then I'm going to drop my stitch length down to about 0.5. Okay, oh, there we go. That's 0.6. That'll do. It's, isn't it? You know, because you are the one that should be dictating where your fabric is going and what your stitch length is. You know, I'm quite a fast sewer, and I always have everything on full speed. When I'm free motioning, I drop it down to sort of medium to fast. A lot of people, rather than using the foot pedal, like to use their start-stop button because it keeps a consistent speed. I'm fine with using my foot, but when you're having a little practice, if you've got a start-stop button, try it with that, okay? Sometimes that can help, all right? So let me just get my needle up, out of the way. Why is that not going up? There we go. Press the wrong button, that's why. So let's get that thread out of the way. Now, Josh, I don't know if you want to come over round behind me now. That might help. So Josh is just going to come round. Okay. And the thing with, so if you want to sort of stand almost behind me so people can see up and over, if that's okay. So with free motion embroidery, you've got to think about your machine being a pencil, basically. And if you were sketching, nothing is going to be an exact perfect line. You've got to think about, you know, sketching, you might, to get that circle. It looks better if you've got that sketchy, free look, okay? I'm not going to do the whole thing because we'd be here for hours, well, not for hours, but ages, but I'm going to do this bird and show you how I would go. It's also like that game that you used to do when you were a kid, you know, where you have to draw something and you don't take your pencil off the paper. Think about it like that. Think about the fact you're going to go from point to point and keep going, okay? So I'm going to drop my foot, okay? Now you can see it still looks like it's not touching, okay? That will engage when the needle goes down. I'm going to pop my needle in and, oh, actually, I'm not going to put my needle just there because actually that's too far over because I wasn't concentrating. So where I want to start, I'm going to start on the back of this bird here, okay, because hopefully you should be able to see it nicely on this colour. I'm going to drop my needle in, back up and pull up that bobbin thread. That will help stop any little knots or anything. Oh, pull up that bobbin thread, okay. This is really hard to do with keeping my fingers out of the way as well. And then you want to drop that needle back in, come on, There we go. Where those threads have come out. Get rid of those. Pop them under the foot, out of the way. Okay. This is going to be a weeny bit noisy because you're this close to the sewing machine. So you can see hopefully on the screen here, I've kept it right in the middle, but I've dropped it down to 0.6. So 0.5, 0.6, okay, is what I find works for this machine. Have an experiment on your own. Now, normally we would sew this way, okay, like that. But now the feed dogs are down, you're going to be doing all of the control, and you can sew in all directions. So I'm going to start just by outlining the bird, okay. So I'm not pivoting the machine. It's actually quite hard to do slow. I'm much better when it's fast. All I'm doing is I'm pushing and pulling the fabric in the direction I want it to go. Okay, like this. So I'm just outlining that little bird. And I'm going to get up to the point where he's going to do his eye. Okay, so it's gone a bit wonky there. That's because I was looking at the controls rather than the fabric. Remember to breathe and blink when you're doing this. I don't care that it's gone a bit wonky. If I was sketching with a pencil, it would be a bit wonky. So I'm going to come round and I'm going to do his eye. And I'm just going to go round and round a few times and give him a little eye. I'm not going to break the thread. I'm going to come back to here. Just fill that little bit in there. And I'm going to do his beak. So I'm going to give him a little beak. Like that. Okay. No, that's actually a bit slow even for me. I'm just going to go up a weeny bit. Okay, and then I'm going to keep working. So I've not taken the needle really out of the out of the fabric. Okay, and I'm going to give him a bit of a top knot with some feathers. Okay, like that. And I want to go in and give him a bit more decoration, like that. Come back down this side. Oh, I haven't given this one a tail feather, so I'm going to give him some tail feathers. Okay. So I'm just drawing it in how I want his tail feathers to look, like that. I'm going to come back down to the bottom and I'm going to give him some feet, some little spiky claws on the bottom of his feet, holding onto the branch. Okay, and then round to go again and keep going. Okay, like that. Now if you stop your needle down and breathe and relax, because you'll find when you're first doing this you're holding your breath because it's like, oh, am I going right? I'm not going to take my needle out, I'm not going to break my thread, I'm going to work backwards and I'm going to do this little bird. Okay, so I'm just going to think about, here we go, here's his branch like this. In fact, let's go back on the branch, give it some definition like that. Okay, so just put in some lines like this and then I'm going to outline the bird again. Okay, so don't overthink this and just do some little scrappy ones to start with. So there we go back up this side like that. And okay, I want to think about where his beak's going to go. So pop his beak in like that. Back up to his top knot. And he's going to give him a bit of a punky top knot on this one. Okay, and give him a fourth one like that. And I haven't really followed the lines that I'd drawn in because that doesn't bother me. It's just when I get there, I think, oh, I'm going to do him a bit more quirky. There we go, and we're going to give him a couple of big tail feathers like that. Okay, and come back down to, I could have given him some wings. I'm going to give him some little feet because he's holding on tight like that, and then I would just keep going. Okay, so I'd go along to this one. Now I'm just going to go along. I'm going to miss him out because of time and everything. Okay, and you can see I'm pushing and pulling in the direction I want it to go. Okay, and I want to come down like that, and I'm going to give it like a bit of a trunk there. You can come down and let's put a knot in the wood like that. Okay, so you're just gonna, let's go down and give it a bit of a twig, a bit of a branch coming off like this, and I'm going to put some leaves on the bottom. There we go, make some little leaves. And it goes into a bit of a bigger branch. like that. Okay, and then away we come again. Hopefully you're all still with me. Sorry, I'm having to concentrate on this, so I'm not getting Josh to ask me questions at the minute. There we go, we'd come along like that towards the end. So I'm going to stop there because the other birds are very, very similar, but we'll go back round and I'll answer any questions now, okay? So what I'm going to do is just iron off those bits there so you can kind of see I've got his eye, but I can go back in and do his eye, okay? And you just sketch and draw in, okay? It's not neat. It's not supposed to be. It's supposed to be quite free and like you've drawn with a pencil, you know? I'm not very keen on this silly little feather I've done there. I could go back into that and just, you know, give him another bit of a plumage or something there and give him a really fancy bird of paradise type top knot. But all of that is part of the little characters of these little creatures that you can make. You could make them little monsters. You know, it depends on what sort of beaks and all, and what, you know, I did a little wing on that one. You know, you can go back in. You can absolutely go back in. The fact I haven't done his eye, I'll go back in, do his eye, and maybe put a wing on this one as well. But you could turn these into anything, you know, if I just iron that off a second, let it cool down. You know, there's no reason why, you know, you couldn't, you know, if this was that way, you know, have a nice blue fabric, you know, and he could be a fish, you know, and give him some, you know, some big lips and some fins, you know. It's very hard to draw upside down, you know, give him some fins and stuff, you know, maybe give him a bigger tail or something, you know, like that. You know, put an eye in. You could do a little whole thing of fish or something. You know, there's no reason why you couldn't make these into, like we're saying, bunny rabbits, you know. Again, you know, give it, see, that's because the fabric's still warm. It won't draw on it. Cool down. Here we go. Okay, you know, give them some bunny ears, you know, and draw in some bunny ears, you know, and then, you know, a nose and some whiskers, and or you could do little, you know, little bunnies and things, you know, turn them into, you know, pussycats and all sorts, any sorts of animals, you know, they could be little monsters, you know, draw little scary faces and, you know, like 7 legs or something, octopuses or whatever. You know, have a play around with the idea about how to actually do it. Are there any questions there? What people were saying, Josh?
Marilyn asked, do you usually use black cotton?
I do, because I like that look. You could do, you know, you could do a different colour cotton, but for me, it's the idea of drawing into the fabric, and I like that very sketchy black line through it. Personal preference. I could have done it in bright red. You could have done it in browns and greens if you wanted to. I think if you start getting too precise, like, oh, it's a branch, I've got to do it in brown, I've got to do the leaves in green, you lose that freedom, you lose that joy that is free motion embroidery, and you kind of lose that sketchy look. But you know, I could have done it all in brown if I wanted to. Yeah, but I wouldn't start picking and choosing my colours too. I mean, you can do. You absolutely can do. That's not the look for me, though. That's not necessarily what I want from it.
Lots of people saying that they're going to give it a go and that you make it look easy.
It's a lot easier than people think it is. You know, free motion quilting is an absolute skill and takes hours and hours and hours of practice to get perfectly symmetrical lines and all those intricate patterns. Free motion embroidery, go for it. Just the messier the better, almost. The messier it is, the kind of the better it looks, because it's that idea that you've drawn something really quickly, you know. So it's a nice way of just having a little play with it. Anything else there?
No, just the general consensus that everyone's going to give it a go.
Cool, fabulous. Please do. Let us obviously post some pictures onto geckos, you know, on the Gigglers page. If you do make some little Tweety birds or fish, or what animals are you going to make, you know. Have a little play around with them. And once I'd done the whole thing, you know, you can see I just freehanded some little music notes and all there. But you could freehand, you know, you could write something on there. You could write into it and stuff. So yeah, any other questions, any other comments there?
No, everything, thank you.
Brilliant.
You have to do this project, yeah?
Brilliant. Yeah, it's a nice one just to have a little play with. If you've got a darning foot in your sewing machine and you've never used it, it's the one that's got the funny spring on it. Sometimes they've got like a bar, but have a look on your machines. If you've got one, swap it out and have a play. In fact, actually, I'm going to very quickly, because Sarah's here tomorrow, so come back a minute, Josh. I'm just going to take it off so that you can see it. So you do have to take the whole thing off. Watch that iron, babes.
Yeah.
Sorry, I'm going to move that over there out of the way. So you've got to take this screw off here. Ooh, like that. Sorry, Josh, my hands are in the way. Like that, okay? And it comes off, and mine looks like that. It's got the screw bit here. Yours might be plastic and be a whole circle. Some of them are open toes, okay? And then you have to put your little elbow, because you have to take the elbow bit off. That's the elbow, which holds all the feet, okay? So you're going to put that back on, all right? So I'm just going to lift my... Ooh, I'm making this all fingers and...
So thank you for putting it back.
Do you know what? As I was doing it, I was thinking, Sarah's going to use this machine tomorrow. I better swap it back over before I before I go. So,
Jacqueline asked, what stitch length do you use?
I tend to put it for free motion embroidery. I tend to put it on about 0.5, 0.6. You can go down to 0. Some people, and I know Gina, I don't know if she's watching. She's brilliant. She's so good. She does like thread painting and she does free motion quilting. She's really good. She doesn't drop her stitch length at all. I struggle with that. I find that I need to drop the stitch length because I feel I've got more control. But yeah, about 0.5 I tend to leave it on. Any other questions there?
No, I was just saying thank you.
No problem. Right, I'm going to go. I'm off for a few days now. So you've got Sarah tomorrow and Thursday, and she's got a really beautiful block tomorrow. I've seen it this morning again. It's lush, really, really nice. It appeals to be a lot. And then she's got a cushion that she's doing on, but it's a cushion with a difference. It's definitely a cushion with a difference on Thursday. Can be used for all sorts, headrests, book rests, all sorts. So yeah, so that's happening Thursday. So I will see you next Monday. Oh, don't forget on Saturday, we've got the Creative Craft Shows Access All Area demo. So if you've bought your tickets for that, I'm going live at 12 o'clock. Again, I've got about a 90-minute demo on then. But, oh, excuse me, my voice is going. But if you haven't bought tickets, why not? Come on. You've got like 50 hours of craft to look for, so to watch and stuff. But if not, I'll see you guys if you have bought tickets on Saturday. If not, I'll see the rest of you on Monday. And I might even have some pictures of my grandson by then. I'm so excited. Yeah, I'll speak to you all soon. Bye, guys.